Island
Please
because I'm
stand
old.
and pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The roll call, Mrs. Anderson.
Here.
Mr. Anthony.
Here.
Mr. Yoho here. Mrs. Zabin
Here.
here. Need a motion to dispense with the reading of the March 2022 minutes and to accept them as presented in the record of proceedings. A copy of the minutes in approved and final form can be requested from the fiscal office.
Motion?
Second.
Mrs. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Anthony.
Yes.
Mr. Yoho, yes. The current fund balances for the month ending March 31st, 2022 were presented. Need a motion to accept.
Motion?
Second.
Mrs. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Anthony.
Yes.
Mr. Yoho, yes. Communications, we have spring cleanup drop-off for residents will be May 9th, 10th, from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And May 11th, 12th, and 13th from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Administration Building Road Department. That'll be through the gate out back. For senior citizen pickup, please call the road department at 330-898-6188 to register by Friday, May 6th. Items for senior citizens must be placed at the curb by Monday, May 9th. No household garbage, brush, leaves, grass clippings, hazardous waste materials including batteries, propane tanks, appliances with refrigerant, unless tagged by a certified Freon removal technician. Anything else for that, Joe?
Nope. Heard.
Anybody else have any communications?
Yeah, community center cleanup for Johnson Community Center for Brookside is May 14th. We changed the time a little bit, but we just added on to it, from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. The boys varsity football team from LeBray is going to be there to assist us from 9 o'clock to 12, and we need all the help we can get, volunteers. We're trying to do both projects, and there's a lot to do down there, a lot to do. So hopefully we get good weather for that, so we're in order to do that. The other thing I have is there's a shred day for people that wants to shred their papers at Geauga Trumbull on Enterprise Drive. It's April 30th, 9 to 12. April 30th, 9 to 12. They've been very good on grants getting us, so they want us to announce that. And the last thing I have on there is they're having a time to dance at the Johnson Community Center also on May 14th from 4 o'clock to 10. They're having a bouncy house for kids, foods, hot dogs, and it's being put on by the two ministries, True Blessing and the Time to Dance Ministry. They wanted that announced. They said everybody's welcome. They will feed them and have games and have a good time there. So that is what we're at with that. That's all I have.
One other thing, if you notice in the Meadowbrook sewer project allotment, they're doing all the stakings right now for, the survey crews are out leaving stakes in yards. I'm sure they would like if we leave those for as long as possible. Seems to be a lot of stakes over there. Anybody else? All right, department head reports. Police Chief Benjamin T. Harrell.
This report is for the month of March. Police Department handled 389 calls for service. Out of the 389 calls for service, we had 32 incident reports, 1 arrest, 1 warrant, 10 crash reports, 5 towed vehicles, and 3 citations.
Thank you. Fire Chief Joseph Natale, being represented by Assistant Chief Eric Luketic.
For the month of March, for the fire department, we responded to 102 calls for service. Of those 102 calls, 85 were for ambulance calls. Had 5 fires, 6 motor vehicle accidents, and 6 other calls for service. We responded to assist other departments 15 times, and when he received assistance from other departments 24 times.
Thank you. Road Superintendent, Cemetery Sexton, Joseph T.
Monday.
Yeah, someday I'll get it, buddy.
In the month of March, the road department cleaned approximately 30 tons of ditch. We used 20 tons of stone, 30 tons of grinding, 15 tons of cold patch, 15 tons of salt. We repaired a OPW drain on Kaiser Road, 6 call-outs. Cemetery had 3 cremations, 1 burial, and truck 4 is in Ravenna getting a bed replaced on it.
Thank you. Zoning Inspector Norman Ashley.
16 calls, 1 permit. The properties on Mahoney and Anderson Anthony, I had discussions with, and they made promises they didn't keep. So I'll contact Cherry. We're going to proceed with action. I'm not waiting on them anymore.
Sounds good. All right, public participation, we're gonna start on the left side, front to back. Anybody have public participation? Yep, name and address?
My address is 190 North River Road, Northwest.
Okay.
I had wrote a letter, and I'm not sure if you had received it, but I do have copies. I had actually sent it to Mr. Anthony.
Yes, I did get it.
Did
Thank
you? Okay.
Yes.
I do have extra copies. It's in regards to the Warren, whatever the name is now, mobile home park on 180 North River Road. I had to make a phone call on Easter due to some dogs that were running loose in the neighborhood. Subsequently, and this is kind of a long story, but basically the police had to come out because of the dogs. There was nobody at the residence at that trailer. I had to make calls on Monday. I had to call Animal Welfare League. I called the city health department, which they told me to call the Trumbull County Health Department, and then I also called here. Animal Welfare League did come out. They confiscated the dogs, and I guess there were cats on the premises because they considered it deplorable. It was uninhabitable for animals. Since the date of that letter, I actually found out that a child was actually in that mobile home. And I guess there has been some warrants out. When I called the Trumbull County Health Department, they stated that there was nothing that they could do. So I'm not really sure where to go. Basically, he said if zoning considers it an issue that you guys would call them out to address the situations that are happening in the park. And I do have an extensive list that's in that letter of things that have happened. I've also called Columbus because they handle manufactured homes. I've made 2 requests with them. I do understand it's a new owner, and they are trying to get some things, but I really don't understand why the health department wouldn't go out if it's a residence that's deplorable for animals, why they would think humans go out.
I do believe that in the last few years that the state of Ohio has taken over the manufactured home parks,
Mhm.
and they've taken the power away from the county that they used to have. But I would imagine for unfit for human habitation, we could try for that and send a letter into the county.
That's where we go.
Yeah, it is.
If somebody calls me, I call the county board of health.
Right.
I don't-
Correct. But
Especially
what
if it's
she's
out.
saying is they don't have any enforcement on manufactured home parks, and I don't know that they really do, but unfit they would have.
Still
It's
not
treated just the
zoning.
same.
Still not zoning.
Still not zoning, correct.
Yeah, if I get a complaint on that nature, I call the board of health,
Right.
because I don't have any jurisdiction as far as,
We could try
All of
sending a
her
letter and
issues.
ask for it to be looked at.
It still should be treated the same. It's the same thing as a home.
I'll call them tomorrow. I was in the house, I was over there.
Were you? Okay. I do feel bad for that officer. I feel like he ruined his Easter dinner because it was pretty bad. He was pretty, but I mean, when I called, the person that I spoke to was very unhelpful. He basically said, yeah, let the township do their job, was his reply to me. And
his name was?
his name was Rod. I mean, he said he had, you know, but I don't know if he was being,
Well, that's okay.
whether
I'll
he-
make a phone.
yeah. But I don't know where to go or what to do from here, so.
Yeah, how that generally works is we would have to give a letter for an unfit for human habitation from the township, and then the county health department at that point would go out and do an inspection.
Okay.
That could go to legally, or it could go to just the park would remove whoever's in there. There's different options that could happen at that point, but if we want to condemn a house, that's how it started.
Okay.
Has he had conversation with the owner? Because last time I talked to you about this the other day, has that, has
I
he-
haven't spoken to the owner. I did get his name and number, but I
Yeah, I
didn't try
haven't.
him yet. I actually have talked to the manager of the park, which they really don't have a lot of control. They did say that they are in talks with Walters Paving to pave the park. As far as other things, you know, like that one trailer, it's really, I mean, it's like a tree hit it. There's siding that's exposed. It's been like that for a couple years. You know, the skirtings on the trailers, they're always blowing around. No windows, doors, floors out of the trailers. You know, there are children there. So the one, I can't believe it's still there.
Right.
It's
Right.
really.
I just got your letter yesterday, so I will call them tomorrow.
Okay.
Anybody else on the left side?
Yeah, Dave Susko, 3796 Todd Avenue Northwest. I'm trying to get a sewer hooked up. I've probably talked to you before about, well, the city wants me to annex into the city.
I did talk to you, correct.
And I've retained a lawyer and stuff, and I don't know what's going on with that, but what kind of trouble is this gonna be? I mean, to annex, I mean, I really don't want to.
So far to date, you do have to sign the annexation agreement with the city in order to connect to their utility.
Yeah,
To my knowledge, nobody on that street that has done that has been annexed, but you are assigning the right for them to do that at some point if they decided to.
so it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll say, yeah.
We've hooked a couple of those houses up and they've all done that, and they're all still township property. I think there's kind of a understanding.
Can't force annexation.
You
You
can,
can't,
Well, yeah, I would.
You're signing
that's
over your-
crazy, how can you force me to annex into the city? I mean,
well, that's what the city requires for you to tap into their sewer line. So you don't have to tap into their sewer, you could fight for a new septic.
Well, I bet, the city's already informed me, and says, well, we've approved you, we already have, decided that we're gonna allow you to hook into this sewer.
Right.
So when the health department talks to them, they're gonna say, well, we allow them to do that, so.
We can call the health department for you and see if there's any other option if you don't want to sign the agreement. We don't want you to annex into the city, of course.
Well, I mean, if I can do it, and they're not gonna annex me or anything right away or anything, I mean, I know there's other houses.
Well, and
that are
not
hooked
just
in.
it's right away, but it could be in 10 years. I mean, it could be tomorrow. You don't know.
Yeah.
They're gonna make you sign that form to hook up to that sewer.
Okay,
And most people just want the sewer, so they're more than happy to do so, but if you've got a choice and you don't wanna be a city property, and we don't want you to be a city property.
yeah, I don't wanna be,
Right.
so.
Well, we do have households that have hooked into the sewer and they've left them alone. Right on South Levitt.
Well, he's over on Todd, by the
Yeah.
Olympic Club.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know there's other houses hooked into that sewer that are still in the township.
Yeah, like I said, we've done a couple of the taps ourselves, and they haven't annexed them to this point, but not to say that they can't, because you are signing the legal agreement saying that they could.
Okay.
who did you talk to down there that said about the annexation?
Pardon me?
Who did you talk to that said about the
Uh,
annexation?
Eric, oh, I forgot his last name.
From what department though?
The
Engineering.
engineering department, and I've talked to everybody. I talked to Paul, I've talked to several people. I mean, I talked to the legal department and everything, And they said, well, you gotta retain a lawyer, you can't just do this, so I retained a lawyer to look into it. But he isn't doing nothing either, he doesn't know he doesn't know what to do with it either. So, I guess, I'll have to get on him to try and move along a little bit quicker then.
Well, your neighbor just got a new septic.
Yeah,
They weren't accessible, so.
yeah, they
I mean, the problem with your house is there's a storm, or a
Yeah,
sewer
there's-
manhole in your front yard,
Yeah, there's
so.
a manhole over there, and they said, yeah, they'll allow me to tie into it,
Right.
so.
But we're happy to call the health department for you as well, you know?
Okay, well, I'll let you know about that. I mean, I'd really rather be tied into the sewer, so, but, cause there's really not much room on my property to be sticking it.
Right, it would take up your front yard,
Yeah,
correct?
I mean, the whole
Yeah.
front yard.
Right.
And I don't know where they would have to go around back to dump down over the hill for the outlet.
I mean, you go to a road ditch is where you try to go, or to the river.
Okay. All right.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Anybody else on the left side?
Thomas Harris, 252 Rio Boulevard.
Thomas Harris, 252 Rio Boulevard.
Yes. I was wondering if there was anything we could do about getting Rio Boulevard paved. I understand it's a dead-end street, but over the last couple of years, it has become very deplorable to drive one. And I know you guys have patched it with rock and tar, but it's starting to become where that just comes right back out almost the same day. And I ride a motorcycle, so it's kind of not really just a matter of the road being paved to save a vehicle. It could actually be life-threateningly dangerous in the condition it's in.
Joe?
We're gonna go up there and skim patch next week, and see what we can do with that. We just don't have the funds. The best we could do is that updated list I gave you guys this
Chip seal?
afternoon to chip seal it. But just up there today, I was there for 20 minutes and there was 14 cars. And there's 5 houses on that road, that's ours.
Go back to TMHA property.
Yeah, I mean, it's constant.
I just had a meeting with Eddie Colbert about that. I just had a meeting with Eddie Colbert in the city just 3 days ago. That was mentioned about the condition of that road. And because they do have the housing development at the end, he's going to look into it and see if there's some way that we can combine us, the city, and the housing development. So we're working on it.
Roy Grubbs, 290 Rio Boulevard. Same condition, roads, they're just, people are running on the grass now. They're just forgetting about the roads, because the roads are so bad, you can't drive down the roads. So they're running on the burns, one wheel on partly on the road and the other one's on the burn. And someone actually ran into my fence. The fence is 5-7 feet off the highway. But to get that far over, to get off the road, because you can't drive on the road, that's what we're left up to. And secondly, who is my trustee, advisor, commissioner on Rio Boulevard? I mean, is there one? Am I appointed one? Do I have one?
3 of us.
Representative, all of you?
All 3 of us.
All 3 of you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. I would like to invite all 3 of you to just take one ride down
I
Rio
drove down it
Boulevard.
just
And see
yesterday.
what I go through daily. And try to think about, there's a sign that says 25 miles an hour going down that street. See if you can do 10 miles an hour going down that street.
Oh, it definitely needs attention, just like every other street that we have. I mean, it's,
No, this is worse.
no, I mean, it's bad, there's no doubt, you know?
I invite you, come on out, and just talk about this street. I'd love to have a conversation about this street.
Meet you there tomorrow if you'd like.
I'm sorry,
I can meet you tomorrow evening if you'd like.
tomorrow at what time?
What time's good for you in the evening?
In the evening, anytime is good for you. What time's good for you?
5:30? 5:30?
5:30 is fine.
We'll come to your house.
Thank you.
Perfect.
You know me.
I do.
Keith Miller, 3828. Todd, you made a comment just now that in order to tie into city services, you're required to sign a letter agreeing to annex into the city.
Yes.
correct? In 2014, I didn't sign anything. Now, the owner was required to tie into the city before they could sell it to. And
Owner was required to upgrade their septic system, and how the state code reads is if sewer is accessible, you must tie to sewer, you're not allowed to put in a septic.
correct.
Yep.
So that's what you did.
That's what we did.
But I never signed anything as far as annexing, because about 6 months after I moved in, I get a letter from the city that says, we want you to annex into the city. I wrote back and said, I don't think so, Scooter. Never heard another word. So you just made a comment, they could come back at any time and want to annex to the city, but I
If you sign,
never signed anything. Now maybe.
in recent years, they have made it to where you sign that paperwork first. To
I
get-
didn't.
To get your sewer permit, you will sign an annexation agreement.
So evidently the previous owner signed it,
Could be.
which, that leaves me, now how can they come back to me and say, we're gonna annex you because you signed when I didn't?
That's a legal question, and we can't answer
This
those, but-
doesn't make sense, this.
But now, and it could be a difference of in 14, they may not have done it up front, but now they make you do it before you get your permit.
Okay, well, I just know I didn't sign anything, so.
You have
When
to sign that affidavit, then they'll release your sewer permit.
When you made that comment, I said, well, no, we never signed anything. We moved in and it was what, maybe 2-3 months for it.
Right.
They did the work, but we never signed anything. So now if they kind of try to come back, it's been 8 years, but according to you, it could be at any
So we'll
other
fight
time.
annexation of
That
any
ain't
of our
gonna-
properties.
yeah, that ain't gonna
I
happen.
do
So,
believe.
I have a question
I
for
will.
the chief real quick.
Yes, sir.
Are we allowed to shoot in the township?
As long as you have a backstop, you're not pointing toward another
Okay,
house.
so I can go down, I live right by the river on Todd. I can go down and set up a target there, kind of against the riverbank.
As long as there's a good backstop.
Yeah, I can make a backstop, but I can go down there and shoot. correct?
And you're not around anybody's houses,
No.
and you're not shooting in any
No,
roads,
it's down,
or,
how close am I to you from there, 100 yards probably?
Yeah.
and you're
Okay.
allowed to shoot in township.
All right, thank you very much.
Anybody else on the left side?
I have one question. It's kind of related to these two gentlemen. They were talking about annexation and what benefits are the city giving you if they want you to tie into the septic and their water? What are you getting in return?
You're not getting anything in return, it's just what the state code reads, is that if you have sewer available, they don't want you on the septic, they would prefer you to be on a city utility.
But you're paying to have that line put in
Correct.
by the city, and you're paying,
Correct.
with water,
Yep.
you're paying footage, so you're paying anyway.
Garbage.
So
Right.
what is the
2.5%
city?
income tax.
Yeah, income tax, garbage.
Yeah, I mean, there's no benefit, there's no benefit.
Well,
Is there a
you now have
benefit?
to pay city income tax. If you want to have a yard sale, you got to get a permit. You're not allowed to burn, they limit on what animals you're allowed to have. I couldn't, I just asked the chief, could I not shoot? Not if I was in the city, I couldn't. So it's very detrimental to be in the city. People across the street from me have a garage sale, they got to get permits. So, yeah, that's why I said,
Anybody else on the
Lose
left?
revenue on that?
What's that?
Don't you lose revenue when somebody, if
Oh,
they
yes,
need to be in
definitely.
the city, take revenue away
Yep.
from you?
Yeah, we would lose property tax.
The township's more or less based on property tax. The city will get you the property tax and they'll also take your income tax. So you're paying a lot more money.
Anybody else on the left?
Sean Shook, Rio Boulevard. I was curious if there was any updates on the tracks over here.
We just,
Any updates on that?
we just wrote a letter today, Sean.
Okay.
Ed's got it, he's moving on it pretty quick.
Okay, any updates on the body cameras in the police department?
We did not get that grant.
The grant didn't go through.
We did not get it. We
Okay,
were not
what's the
awarded
next
it.
effort to get that accomplished?
My thing is I wanna get at least dash cameras. Because they will have mics on them, so. I'm trying to get them, but again, funding, we're gonna try to figure out how we can get it.
Okay.
It's $5,000 a car, just to put a camera in.
Okay. Another thing I want to hit on early this year, because there's always an issue every year about whether it's one thing or another. The mosquito spraying for this year. Did you guys?
Signed it
in the first
yesterday.
passage, if you don't set it up early enough, there's an issue.
It's already set.
He just texted me, you're gonna try to do it May 6th, 7th, or 8th.
Okay, now, is it gonna be the same one that was used last year? Because there was an issue with that.
That's the same guy. There's only one provider in this area.
All right, because after it was done last year, there was people all over social media saying how they didn't know that it had been done because, one, they didn't see the truck around, and two, even the ones that did know it was done claimed that it didn't seem to be as effective. Lots of people were complaining about this.
Well,
And there was a specific comment made online by, I believe it was Rob Meeker. I have it online, I looked at it today, that said that the chemical or something was different about last year versus prior years, and that may have been why it wasn't as effective.
that is true.
That's true?
That is true. In 2021, the EPA started crunching down on the regulations for insecticides. So it's not the same chemical. The active ingredient has changed. And the reason no one heard the truck is because he got a new truck. So it's a quieter truck.
Okay. If the new chemical that they're using is not as effective, are we getting any rebate or discount on the process compared to what it usually costs?
No, sir.
No.
It actually went up $128.
Okay, are we any chance of scheduling more than one round this year? I know Cortland and people up by the lake, now granted, I think you're right by the lake, but Warren Township is a very wet township. I believe one spraying a year is not even close to being sufficient. If I'm not mistaken, I think Cortland does 2 sprayings a month. They used to do 2 sprayings a month for almost 5 months through the summer months.
Sean, we don't, honestly, they're the majority of these people complain to us. We had 200-300 complaints last year of mosquito spraying. They're like, most people don't want it.
Well, that's probably people that live in nicer places that don't have swamp.
They're all over.
around them, but
They're all over
the rest of
because they
us are
said,
getting eaten alive.
yeah, there's probably, how many calls do you feel? Endless. I know,
Yeah, 200-300.
that's probably low.
That's low. Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
You know, for example, the lot next to me, which I tried to purchase off the current owner, and I got nowhere with that, is swamp. It's nothing but wet in there. And I was going to buy it off of them. It's a cheap, small lot, it's not worth anything. And I was going to dry it up and clean it up and take care of that. Can't get them to budge on it. Another thing I want to hit on was what's been talked about the road. I know we've talked about that several times before. People were here last month talking about it, we've talked about it, about all the different elements of it. You know, it's kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. I don't care for the holes either, but if you have a nice road, then you got people flying. And, you know, believe it or not, people are still doing 60, 80 mile an hour down that road, even with as bad as it is. I see them, I hear them every time they go by. And I can confirm what he said about them cutting into the yards, because every time somebody goes by, I worry they're going to take out my mailbox for the God knows how many time. And these are the cars that are coming in that are so far on my side. Not the ones going out, they're the ones coming in. They shouldn't even be on that side of the road. Now, I think it was Anthony, I talked to you about doing a study on our road. So that maybe we could increase, what's the word I'm looking for? Because you guys said there's a number system, a rating system.
We already called
Maybe
them.
if we did a study to see
Called
just
them.
how busy that road
We
is.
called them months ago. I mean, they have to do their thing. He's been contacted, what,
Yeah.
three months ago. So it's already, they have to do a speed study. That's out of our, all we can do is contact
And
him.
it's the county's,
Yes.
their decision on what they wanna do.
I mean, he's already been contacted. As soon as you brought that up, that very next day, I met with the chief and we contacted
We
him.
did it last year as well, 3 or
Yes.
4 times we called them.
Yes.
I know Joe's been out there enough, and I know he knows what I'm talking about. That is, believe it or not, you will not believe how busy that road is. You would never think it in a million years for the amount of people that actually live on that physical road compared to what it used to be. I mean, there's a lot of houses that aren't there anymore. There's houses that are not being used. So, I mean, there's not a lot of people that actually live on that road directly. But for the amount of traffic that we're getting, it's just, my God, it's unbelievable.
That's because they're going down to the hood.
And the
You're not
garbage.
counting all the apartments that are down in the hood.
Right.
Oh, no, I know that, but that's Warren City, so it's.
All right,
it's
we're
a
getting
tough-
off
tough
subject.
situation.
Anything else, Sean?
Yeah, I was curious about the lack of communication and the miscommunication regarding last month's 29th day meeting about the sewer project and the dam removal. Why was there not such more of an effort made to notify the people, the community about that meeting?
That meeting was called by the county.
Yeah, that had nothing, we had no control. That's a county meeting. It wasn't a township meeting.
Yeah, but it was held here, you guys knew it was gonna happen, right?
Yeah,
It's posted
and I
on the
did.
door, it was posted everywhere else,
I
it was
think it was on
posted
the
on
website,
Facebook.
wasn't it?
No,
Facebook?
no, it wasn't on the website, it wasn't on Facebook, I looked.
I actually.
It
put
actually
notice
was
in
posted on the
paper, too.
Yeah,
website. It's on the calendar, which syncs automatically as soon as it's posted, and it's posted throughout and continuously updated.
Yes.
Well, me and 2 other people pulled up the website and we couldn't find it, and it wasn't on the Facebook website either. For that day, it just said dump or something, I don't even remember, it was not listed. Another thing too, as I said before about.
There was a
you
press
guys have-
release from the county about the county meeting. Was
you
there,
guys- This has come up before about the miscommunication, you know. You're trustees, I'm willing to bet you that if you call any of the news outlets, 21, 27, 33 Tribune, and you say, hey, this is so-and-so trustee, I would like you to inform the people of something. I'm gonna bet 9 out of 10 times they're gonna do that. Now,
But
don't be reported, I mean, how
but
do
it
they
wasn't
know
our
what they
meeting.
know?
The county handles their own press
I'd still
release.
put it in the paper to cover us.
And I understand that, if it was held at the county building, I would be more upset with it, but it was held here.
It's still a
Everybody
county
knows.
meeting. They have complete control over that. I believe Mr. Pappas is here to attest to that. If it's a county meeting, all they wanted to do was to have it out here because of the Wi-Fi. They didn't have it in the engineers, so they decided to have it here. We have no control over that, but we still went beyond that and posted it on our board, posted it everywhere else, even though it wasn't ours. But that's, we don't call the press. That's
There
something you
wasn't
don't
many
do.
people beyond myself that didn't know it was happening and were upset they didn't get to participate. And then the 21 that did cover it that day, they got it wrong when they said that it was going to be discussed at the next week's meeting for the commissioners. That wasn't true. They actually discussed it the very next day on the 30th, and nobody got to be there. You were there, I seen you in the footage. So
Absolutely.
you were there, but
That,
nobody.
the 30th was their next weekly meeting. It was the day after they met
Yes.
here.
But that's not what it said on the news, you understand what I'm saying? That's not the way.
They
it
have a
works.
meeting, they have a meeting every week. Their next meeting would happen to be the
I
day
understand
after.
that, but the news said next week's meeting. That's specifically what they
Unfortunately,
said.
it's a dead issue.
All right, we're going on to,
So we're gonna have to move on.
anybody on the right-hand side here for public participation? Mr. Parker?
Use address.
What is Chuck Parker, 768 Rayford Avenue, Brookside?
Thank you.
2 things. Firstly is, I took pictures on the way here. Norm, I sent them to Norm, as I was sitting here. There's a business that's on Althea. It's owned by Emerite. And tires galore, stacked up on the right, trash on the side, tires in the back. Now, I know this has been addressed multiple times, and Norm's taken the effort to do that and discuss that with them, and they would respond in a positive manner, but it just keeps repeating itself over and over again. Now, perhaps they don't particularly care about Warren Township, but we particularly care about Warren Township. and we care about Brookside. And it's an eyesore. It's really, really bad, and it's continually happening. I don't know what else we can do. I don't know if there's any type of penalty or anything, but it's sad that a trustee from another township allows his business to look like that in our township. It's disgraceful. And I know each of you, if you have businesses, you treat your business with respect to the township you live in. So, you know, I'd like somebody to address that again, please. Okay, and I'll be more glad to send you the pictures I have. Thank you very much. The other is, what is the timeline and expectations for the chip and seal? Is there moving forward? What do
We are at the county's mercy on the chip seal. Right now, it's trying to find tar is a big issue. And not pay a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a company out of Meadville that could sell it, but they're not on state purchase for Ohio. So then anything over $50,000 has to go out for state bid. So it's a weird time.
Yeah, it is. For a lot, excuse me, a lot of things. Where did we get the tar before?
That came through Russell Standard, which Russell Standard is on state bid for Ohio, and that comes from Akron.
Okay.
So it's in high demand, and
Sure.
It's.
I'm just curious what the timeline looked like, because there's a lot of people waiting in queue for this to be done, and, you know, there's expectations, and we passed the levy, and we set it.
Oh, yeah.
We all know that. So, it'd be nice if there was a timeline,
Yeah.
a defined line, so.
Hopefully before November. That's from the county's mouth, because, I mean,
Well, then hold off, if it's November, and just pave it next year.
they're short-staffed.
I think your plans are to
Yeah.
start with hand patching the township.
Hand patching, I think, is June, July, and then August, September, but they wouldn't, Tom didn't nail anything down for certain, because there's still a lot of moving parts to try to get help.
And the last item I have, thank you very much, and this, you'll help me with this. You know that low spot that's right in front of my house?
Mm-hmm.
You said it was when they did some work there, the county, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sunken now.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something that they can do with that before they get that?
They can grind it a little bit.
Will they though? I mean.
I have no idea if they will or not. We can go and put spray tar down and then put asphalt over top of it to make it
Just
a level surface.
Just a little bit better, that's all.
So.
Because you drive down there every day, you see what I'm talking about. And lastly, Elise, is that there was a gas leak in Brookside recently, and Dominion came in and they dug out, it's a corner of West and Shady, and they dug it out, filled it, blacktopped it. Now it's all sunk. It's bad, real bad. So they need to come back and follow up on that.
They said when they did that the first time to do the temporary, that was temporary.
Yeah. They
have a crew that comes back around and finishes it. So whenever that crew gets to that, they're on a schedule, so. And I'm not privy to that schedule.
They're actually usually pretty quick, and they're pretty good at making a nice patch when they're done.
As you know, I'll see it and follow up on it, and unfortunately, too many people have my phone number. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Julia Shutt, 4937 Eagle Creek. I have a question and then some thoughts, some creative thoughts. So my question, and I'll direct it to you, is there is a roadside trench, right, for drainage, a ditch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it starts maybe at Potoc and it runs all the way to 4937 Eagle Creek, and it's on the south side of the street. And there's kind of a woodsy area, and a lot of people throw their garbage, there's mattresses, there's cans, bottles. Is that something that the road crew would ever address, because it is a ditch that some of that stuff might impede flow of water and thereby they
When
might
it
possibly-
impedes the flow of water, then we
Okay,
will go out and clean it out, and when we clean it out, we use a track hoe to clean it out.
okay.
So we'll just re-ditch it, and
Yeah, that would be super
now
cool
if it plugs
you
the
know,
pipes up,
yeah.
we'll flush the pipes out.
I don't think it's there yet, but anyway, so that brings me to my thought of garbage, and just like you're on the side, you're driving down roads, especially this time of year before things start to grow, and you see bottles, cans. I know the McDonald's guy that comes by, you know, with the bag, and I was just wondering if there was some sort of way we could heighten awareness of, if you're a litter bug, you're a loser kind of idea, but keep it positive with some sort of signage. Have you ever seen that? There's a meme thing online that says, it's something that was posted in a Metro Park, said, your mother doesn't work here, you know, only litter. It's just some like dissing on litter bugs. And I'm not saying that because we have to be positive, but is there some sort of maybe creative funding that's available to design and purchase some signage that could be they could be part of what becomes Leavittsburg's new brand, which is, we love it here, it's a beautiful place, it's a safe place, it's a clean place. I just wonder what people think of the idea of just creating something that would create pride. And I know it's only just maybe 5% of the people that throw their junk out, but just it has to start somewhere.
They sure cover a lot of ground though.
What's that?
They sure cover a lot of ground though.
Right, so I mean, it's sort of like, my idea is to focus on the positive and what we want versus the negative and what we don't want, because we all know what that is and what that looks like, and we see it in our, you know, neighborhoods and when we're rolling down the street. But is there something that we could focus on that would create positive change, that possibly there's some sort of funding available to like sit down and come up with a plan, to come up with some signage? I'm not even sure what that looks like, but I like the idea of focusing some of our energy on what could we do that's just a positive and great advertising for the city. Oh my gosh, the local TV stations, now they want to come and see what we've done to clean up some of this trash with this great idea. And we're getting schools involved and churches and kids and Boy Scout, you know, like what could it look like if we started to really involve the community with doing something positive that affects everybody, that also honors this beautiful little town on the Mahoning. And with that, I close. Anyway, I'd like input, what everybody thinks, and anybody here if they have a thought. I know Ed's a deep thinker, so.
I think you're on the right track. We're gonna probably have to just get a few of us together and see what we come up with.
I was thinking the Geauga.
Geauga Trumbull, they won't handle that. We get money from grants and we could do signage. If you can come up with something catchy.
I can. I mean, and maybe we could, you know,
Start
put
out
that.
with the website and the Facebook.
Yeah, and just kind of throw out some ideas and see what people say. And, you know, I'm sure there'll be a lot of snarky comments, but maybe there'll be some good ones, you know. Like, I think it's, you know.
Start out with a slogan.
Yeah.
Address it to you and you can pick them.
Okay.
No, I'm
No,
serious.
I mean, it's like, I think it's like an energy shift kind of thing. It's like, does everything suck, or are there some good things worth fighting for? And I think that.
It's good. Positive thinking.
Anybody else on the right-hand side?
Hello, Dave Warner. I come from Lordstown, but I bought some property here in Warren Township, over off of Rosenbaum Road, which Rosenbaum Road don't exist no more. So I am trying to get a change of address to Burnett East Road, because that is the one that where all my property ties into and goes on to. And we're gonna find out what we have to do to.
That's gonna have to go through Norm, and he had a doctor's appointment, he had to leave to be there at 7:30, so.
Mm.
You give him your phone number after the meeting, if you wanna give it to us, we can.
Good luck
give it
on
to
that.
him.
We've been working on it for a couple months. All right. So I didn't know if I had to go through you
Yeah,
folks or.
zoning has to give you the paperwork to change your address, if you.
Yeah, because like I said, their address, the road that my address is actually on, it's there, but it ain't accessible anymore. They have cut it off and trees have grown up through it and everything else.
After the meeting, sir, why don't you just give me your phone number, I'll make sure you contact.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else on the right side? Anybody on?
We got Greg Zuma, Z-U-Z-M-U-D-A. Zamuda. Oh, sorry. 205 Ravelo Court. Talking about the large pothole on Ravelo Court. Needs to be addressed soon.
Hand patching's gonna start next couple weeks?
Yeah. Week after cleanup.
The other ones I don't have addresses for, I've asked for, but I'll read the questions. Eric Fellinger. Schedule on paving for the Brookside and the Crossroads.
We're not paving Brookside or the Crossroads. We were not awarded the OPWC grant.
And then about a mailbox being hit by the ambulance, talking about you guys wasn't addressed. Any information about getting the ambulance or mailbox replaced?
Eric, did somebody hit?
I don't.
Was it the ambulance or was it a road department?
Where's she live?
He didn't give me address.
There is,
He lives on Woodside.
no, there was someone that called and said that
Eric?
an ambulance hit a mailbox on Althea,
Yeah.
and it wasn't one of our ambulances.
Okay. So it may have been one of our mutual aid. Do they know what?
No, it
I'll
was a
try and
private
get more
company.
information.
Private company.
It was a private company.
You could run a call sheet and find out who it is and.
Well, it could have been it could not even been one of our calls because
No,
it could have been a
it-
routine transport
it wasn't
bringing them
one.
home.
Well, they would know who did it if it was a private, so they'd have to contact them.
Right.
Yeah. I'll ask more after the meeting. From Tina, I'm going to slaughter this last name. I'm just going to spell it Hirsch. Yes. Talking about either stop signs or maybe speed strips or barriers or something along those lines on McManus, on Rio Terra by the apartments, to deal with speeding cars. And then potholes on the Meadowbrook Turner Road area.
Hand patching's gonna start the week after
Just talking
cleanup.
about the speed.
Yeah, the speed thing, we've already discussed with Ed today about putting more cars on afternoon down there to heighten the visibility. And as far as the study for the stop signs, we have to do that through the county. We can't just throw stop signs up.
I believe this was answered also earlier by, it's Lisa Potke Demensky. The pink markers in the Meadowbrook area, that's in reference to the water and sewer, correct?
Yes.
All right. And how long will the study be happening for before it's complete?
It'll be a while.
It's gonna be a while, but they do plan to break ground to the end of the summer is what they have said.
No, fall.
Summer, end of summer's
Yeah,
fall.
probably, they're looking at November or December. Possibly.
In reference to your comment, this is actually directed towards you.
Um,
That's it from,
All righty, we're gonna call the Facebook. And we're gonna move on to new business. Resolution
all
XX
right. I think that's worthy of reading.
0422 to approve the use of facilities agreement between Warren Township Board of Trustees and fire fast pitch pending proof of liability insurance in the amount of no less than $1 million with Warren Township added as a named insured to the policy.
Motion?
Second.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Anthony?
Yes.
Mr. Yoho, yes. Resolution XX0422 to approve the resolution prepared by the firm of Baker Dubacar authorizing an increase in the micro purchase threshold and to adopt a uniform guidance procurement policy for the APRA funds.
Yeah, it's supposed to be ARPA, it's a.
ARPA funds?
Yep, the ARPA fund, yep.
Motion?
Motion?
Second.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Anthony?
Yes.
Mr. Yoho, yes. Resolution XX0422 to approve a 30-day medical leave of absence for Joseph M. Natale from the Warren Township Fire Department, effective April 27, 2021. Employee is required to reimburse the employer for the employee share of the insurance premiums, including Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, American Fidelity, in the monthly amount of $179.58 and $112.96, respectively, for a total of $292.54. Payment is due by the 15th of each month. The employee is off on medical leave starting May 15, 2022.
Motion?
Second.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Anthony?
Yes.
Mr. Yoho, yes.
It's long.
That's a big one.
It's long.
Resolution XX0422. Whereas the Board of Trustees of Warren Township, Trumbull County, Ohio, on behalf of Warren Township, is the owner of approximately 3.319 acres of real estate located generally at 750 North River Road, Warren Township, Trumbull County, Ohio, PPN parcel number 41-002505, here and after the premises. And whereas the Township and the Board of Township Trustees has determined it is in the best interest of the Township to sell and transfer a portion of the premises is approximately 50 feet by 71.38 feet, more specifically shown on the replat prepared by Eric Wayne Hilliard, registered surveyor, attached here to the property, the Albert Gargano and adjoining property owner pursuant to its authority under Ohio Revised Code 505.10A and 6. And whereas the township agrees to sell Mr. Gargano, has agreed to purchase the property for the sum of $1,500. Mr. Gargano will pay the cost of the survey and all costs to transferring the property. And whereas the trustees have determined that this is in the best interest of the township and its residents to sell the property to Mr. Gargano. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Warren Township, Trumbull County, Ohio as follows. Resolved that the board agrees to sell Mr. Gargano, has agreed to purchase the property and pay Warren Township the sum of $1,500. And Mr. Gargano will pay the cost of the survey, the deed, recording the deed, township legal costs, and any other all costs of transferring the property. Be it further resolved that the board hereby authorizes on behalf of the Board of Trustees, Trustee Ryan Yoho to execute the deed and other documents required to execute the transfer. Be it further resolved that the board finds it determined that all formal actions of this board concerning and relating to the passage of this resolution were taken in an open meeting of the board, and that the deliberations of this board that resulted in such formal action were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements.
Motion?
Second.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Anthony?
Yes.
Mr. Yoho, yes. Resolution XX0422, per the recommendation of Police Chief Benjamin T. Harrell, to hire Michael Q. Carter as a part-time, not to exceed 1,500 hours per year police officer with Warren Township Police Department at a rate of $14 per hour, effective April 30th, 2022, pending pre-employment background check, drug screen, physical, psychological evaluation, and a completion of fiscal office employment packet.
Motion?
Second.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Anthony?
Yes.
Mr. Yoho, yes. There being no further business that could come before the board, make a motion to adjourn.
I have a question on that. One more. The problem is if you do this order the way you do it, then there's nobody that can ask any questions about the new topics that you talked about. I'm just curious real quick. The land that's being sold from the township, what's that person gonna do with that land, do you know?
He cleaned the trees off of it and has mowed it for the last 10 years.
But do you know what the intent is?
It's just his backyard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
see,
just curious, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know, I'm just curious, because if you don't know what the intent is, then I don't know if you know fully if it's in the best interest of the township to sell land to somebody.
yeah, he, over the years cleaned it up and made it, essentially, it looks just like his backyard.
Oh, okay, I mean, I really don't know.
He wanted to purchase it because he did all the work to clean that little piece up and make it look so nice, so.
Oh, cool, all right. I was just curious, because I was curious when you said if you're selling township property, somebody, you never said what they might or might not do with it. And I didn't know
Yeah.
exactly where it was located.
His plan is just to mow it and, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Right, and it's located, if you went to the basketball courts at Brookside, it's the
The ones at the other.
piece of green grass. It looks like it should be a guy's backyard,
Okay.
but we've owned that little corner all these years that he cleaned up.
Oh, okay.
So,
You're talking about the other fire station over on?
Brookside.
Yeah.
Yep. Left corner would be the northeast corner behind the basketball court. Yep. It's all staked out and pinned if you wanted to take a peek at it. All right, anybody else? No further business to come before the board. Motion made to adjourn.
Motion?
Second. Just wanted to delay it for a minute. It's so much fun, right? Yes.
Mr. Yoho, yes. Thanks for coming, everybody.